Shalom, shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praise, honor, and the glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Peace and blessings be multiplied on all you brethren teaching this word in all sincerity and in truth. It's the brother Dama Al-Gabar here with another lesson. Lord willing to edify and give you warning from Yahweh by Yahweh Shai. As you can see from the title of this article from naturalnews.com, 13 nations agreed to engineer global famine by destroying agriculture, saying that producing food is bad for the planet. And you see, these devils are definitely taking it there. And, and once you really, see what the plans of these elites are, see what they're saying at the World Economic Forum with Klaus Schwab and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, a huge part of it is, sustainability and doing away with natural farming and natural food for the average everyday person, because they ultimately are going to lead you into this new world order. And one of the ways they're going to lead you down this path is by starving out the majority of the people that are here. They're going to do away with these farms. They're going to do away with the easy accessibility of food that, here in the West, we're accustomed to. Because they're going to ultimately bring you people onto your knees, man. All right, they're going to bring so much hell upon you. They're going to starve you out. They're going to, turn off the power, turn off the electricity, make it to where you can't get gas. They're going to do away with the financial system and the petrodollar as we know it. And they're going to eventually leave you people out here so bad, so hungry, so scared, so depleted, so terribly famished and fainting out here, that you're going to literally be begging these devils, for their new world order. You see? And they're using this whole geist of climate change, and there's too many cows, there's too much emissions, too many people here on this planet Earth, to bring you people into this new world order, man. And this is nothing new, all right? And when I immediately read this article, it made me think of the book of Genesis, which I'm going to go to show you what happened when the famine and food was so scarce and so sore in the land of Egypt. How desperate people were that they literally sold over and gave over everything that they had for food and became perpetual slaves unto Pharaoh in that day, in which Esau was pulling the play right out of ancient Egypt, man. Hey, but that's why, those of us who are of the household of faith, those of us who have our faith in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, our faith and trust is in the Lord, man. All right. And our faith and our trust is going to be in the living power, not in Esau, not in getting weak and going to the nearest shipping station, doing whatever he's going to require of you to do in order for you to get food, to get water, not looking to save our life here, because that's ultimately what he's going to do. All right. You're going to have to voluntarily bow down into this and submit yourself into this new world order. He's not going to force you to do a goddamn thing, because this is why he's taking control and consolidating all power. He's buying up all these different businesses, these corporations. He's, getting everything in his power and in his control, so that when he offers you this new world order, like I said, a lot of people are going to be jumping over each other to get it. A lot of you people are going to be begging and crying and on your knees begging this man to help you, man, which is going to come in the form of the micro C-HIP, man. All right, the MOTB. So I'm going to read a little bit of this article. It says, we are now being told that producing food is bad for the planet. To save the planet, globalists insist farms must be shut down across the globe. Under the guise of reducing methane emissions, 13 nations have signed a pledge to engineer global famine by cutting agricultural production and shutting down farms. And why are they doing this? Because they're ultimately being paid off by these elites to do these things, man. They have puppet leaders in place in these different countries, and they're doing the will and the bidding of these elites, man, to bring in this fourth industrial revolution, this great global reset. It says, announced earlier this year by the Global Methane Hub, a cabal of crisis engineers who exploit public panic to destroy world food supply. Those 13 nations are Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Burkina Faso, Chile, Czech Republic, Ecuador, Germany, Panama, Peru, Spain, the United States, and Uruguay. You see? And these are major food producers around the earth, which a lot of them are, ran by these elites. They have puppet leaders in place. They're brought and paid for. They're controlled by, the powers that be. It says, imagine no meat production from Australia, Brazil, and the U.S. And we've been seeing that all over the country, especially here in America. They've been destroying all these meat packaging plants. You have a lot of, they're destroying hundreds of thousands of cattle. You had that one cattle farm, I forget where it was, that just went up in flame with all the cows got burnt alive. They're buying up different corporations. Chicken farms are going up in smokes. Poultry farms are just mysteriously going ablaze. And now they're out here stopping, buying up all of these farmers and buying them out from farming. So we know that very scarce, harsh famine is approaching, And these devils are going to use it to their full advantage to starve you people out, man. Remember, Klaus Schwab said, prepare for a more angrier world. You know how angry people are going to be when, this famine truly hits in? Whether, we know part of it is manufactured, but also a lot of it, too, is because the Lord is sending his judgment. The Lord has sent his fury upon a lot of these farms and these crops and with bad weather patterns to ultimately bring judgment upon, these wicked people. It says, and they admit it's all part of the climate fraud, which has been thoroughly exposed as a quack science hoax, by the way. As Luis Planas, Spain's Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Food says, I am glad to see the shared commitment by the international community to mitigate methane emissions from agriculture as means to achieve the goals we signed for the Paris Agreement on Climate, which is ultimately the plan of the elites, man. This guy is just the face of it. All right, this is not his plan. He's being paid, I'm pretty sure paid well, to do the bidding of these elites. You see? And what is part of the goals they want to achieve for the Paris Agreement on climate is depopulation, man. Cut off emissions, destroy these farms, ultimately help usher in the enslavement of humanity. It says food systems are responsible for 60% of methane emissions, warns Marcelo Mina, CEO of the Global Methane Hub. She is saying that farming is destroying the planet, which is a goddamn lie, man. It's because you over-farm different, you don't give the land rest. You don't adhere to the land Sabbath. You just farm and farm and farm one plot of land until the soil is just destroyed. And then on top of that, you're spraying chemicals. You're spraying barium oxide in the metals. You're not farming and using the land as the Lord prescribed, man. So therefore, it's not yielding. It's getting weaker. It's being overused. The soil is the soil is dead. You see, because this earth was meant to be a constant, renewed resource, man. But when you don't, when you break the everlasting covenant and you go outside of the rules and regulations, how the Lord set this earth to be farmed and to be inhabited, then bad things happen. It says, hence their demand to shut down farms. Without farms, you have no food. And without food, you get exactly what Kamala Harris called for over the weekend, reduced population, you see? And this is ultimately a huge part of their goals, is to reduce a huge part of the population. Because when you can reduce a lot of the population, a lot of the people are easier to control. And when you starving people out, man, when they haven't eaten and they're starving, they're more compliable. They're easier to control. They're willing to do things that they wouldn't ordinarily do if they had a food full of stomach and, food on a regular basis. Like I said, this is all just a huge corralling of the population into this new world order. It says the depopulation agenda is no longer even a secret. They are bragging about it. And here's the logic. Food equals global warming. So they are attacking food and shutting it down. Yeah, they're shutting down everything, but mainly food. And this is a huge way they're going to manipulate a lot of these people into doing exactly what these elites want them to do. It says cows and chickens to be replaced by crickets and insect larvae. Enjoy the crunchy fake meat patties and cricket McNuggets. Soon you'll be eating bugs because meat will be widely unaffordable due to government shutting down farms and ranches, as journalist Leo Holman explains. You see, but these elites, they're still going to eat meat. They're still going to have chicken and beef and chicken and beef and pork. They're still gonna, be eating all of the delicacies and steaks and wine and flying all over the earth. You see, because these rules of climate change don't apply to these elites, only to you peons out here. It says, we can presume from this language that among the practices being considered are replacing a major portion of the beef and dairy cattle, pork and chicken stocks that populations rely on for protein, which insect larvae, mealworms, cricket, etc. The UN, World Economic Forum, and other NGOs have been promoting meatless diets and the consumption of insect protein for years, and billionaires have invested in massive insect factories being built in the state of Illinois, in Canada, and in the Netherlands, where mealworms, crickets, and other bugs will be processed as additives to be inserted into the food supply, often without clear labels that will inform people of exactly what they are eating, and remind you of that movie where they were eating the Soylent Green, man. You see, Soylent Green is people, It says, Holman also refers to the Deagle forecast, which projects an almost 70% reduction of the U.S. population by 2025, saying there is no more efficient way to depopulate than through war, famine, and plagues. And all these things are on the menu, man. We know that World War III is being brewed up over there with Russia and Ukraine. We see how they're manufacturing this famine by destroying all these farms, destroying all these meat packaging plants, destroying massive amounts of cattle, and they plan on destroying cattle like annually, a lot of amounts of cattle annually. They're doing away with a lot of the chicken and the poultry due to so-called avian bird flu viruses. And now it's even a point to where one company got the approval to make a lab-grown chicken, man. So we can't. So you have to see that what they're saying they're trying to do is actually real. It's actually happened. You see, it says, isn't it interesting that all three of these time-tested methods of murder are in play right now? It says, in a related story, Michael Snyder from the Economic Collapse blog writes, global food supplies just keep getting even tighter, and global hunger has risen to extremely alarming levels, and food is getting more and more expensive. So, a huge part of the famine is people not being able to afford the food. Now, there might be some food in the stores, but when the prices are so high and so astronomical that nobody can afford it, that's another way of people being famished and not eating. You see? It says, according to the United Nations, nearly 30% of the global population does not have constant access to food right now, and there are approximately 900 million people that are facing severe food insecurity. It says, learn more about engineered global famine in today's Brighteon broadcast news episode, which will appear in this article before 12 noon, you see? So like I said, this is all part of their plan, deliberate destroying of the food supply to gain total control and to depopulate a lot of you people out here so that it can be easier to, less people to control. It'll be easier for them to have control. And like I said, they're going to be soon get to the point to where people are going to be literally begging these devils for for a new world order and for help, man. And this reminds me of this in Genesis the 47th chapter. Let me read this. This is Genesis 47:13. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And this is what these devils are going to ultimately implement for a time in the season here. This is why they're destroying all these farms, which is why, they're going to make things get really, really tight and sore. It says, and Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they brought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when the money failed in the land of Canaan, you see, just like the money is going to fail here in America, which is spiritually Egypt, when they collapse this dollar and implode this financial system, the petrodollar, all the money is going to fail. Cash is going to be useless, And on top of that, you're going to have this severe famine that's going to be happening in the land. So what is that going to cause? Desperation, cannibalism, anger, invading one another. People doing all type of crazy shit because they don't have no food to eat and no water to drink, man. It's going to get crazy out here. And it's going to show you what happened in the land of Egypt, just how desperate people got. And Esau knows this, and he's going to use this same tactic here in this time. It says, and when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence, for the money faileth? And Joseph said, give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle if money fail. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses, and he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. Yeah, like people are going to be giving over their assets, giving over their houses, giving over whatever they got to give up in order to survive. It says, and when that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, we will not hide it from my lord, how that our money is spent. My lord also have our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my lord, but our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh. You see, they sold themselves over unto Pharaoh for the lack of bread. They said, look, take our lands. Shit. Take our body. Shit. Just give us some food to eat. We don't want to die out here. We don't want to starve to death. And it's going to be the same thing when Esau, dries everything out. People are going to be running to the nearest shipping station. You want to eat? Well, you got to get down with this new system. You want food? You want bread? You got to take this micro C-up. And a lot of people are going to do exactly that, man. So you can see, you can take a page out of this time in history and apply it to now. It says, buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. It says, and Joseph brought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them. So the land became Pharaoh's, and as for the people, he removed them to cities from one end of the borders of Egypt, even to the other end thereof. Only the land of the priests brought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them. Wherefore they sold not their lands. And you're going to have particular people that's going to benefit, by these elites for being major players and being major helpers in this whole situation. But ultimately, you can see just how desperate people got, man. And people are going to continue to do, similar things in this time when it gets bad enough, man. So you got to expect this coming year or even next year, man, it's not going to be a lot of readily available food in the grocery stores. It's going to be very scarce and expensive. And I think just right now, the Ukraine or Russia just did something where they stopped a deal from grain to be shipped from Ukraine, from being shipped from Ukraine, which is a huge a grower of grains and a huge exporter of grains and shit, that makes a lot of the things that you eat every day, bread, packaged goods, and a lot of things of that nature, So you can see, man, hey, this is not some small thing right here. And the scriptures speak about great death, famine, and destruction, which is going to come in these last days. And we can see, these 13 nations, which I'm sure are big producers of food and growers of produce, are destroying their agriculture. So that is going to create a very tight situation for people to eat. All right, which is why, like I said, hey, our faith has to be totally in Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, because hey, this great famine, death, and destruction is coming. Matter of fact, let me see if I can let me read this. It says, but ye are they that forsake Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, that forget my holy mountain, that prepare a table for that troop, and that furnish the drink offering unto that number. Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall all bow down to the slaughter. Because when I called, ye did not answer, and when I spake, ye did not hear, but did evil before my eyes, and did choose that wherein I delighteth not, which is 2/3 of our people are guilty of that, man. The Lord's he's gonna bow you down over into this famine, into this slaughter. And a lot of you are going to resort to cannibalism and eating your children, eating the family dog, eating your neighbors, and getting to the point where you're going to be so desperate and so hungry and so through out here that you're going to literally go to Esau and voluntarily take this man's micro C-hip just so you can eat and have some type of comfort. It says, verse 13, it says, therefore thus saith the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And that's what's going to happen to a lot of our people out here during this great time of judgment. And when the Lord allows these things to come to pass, his servants are going to eat and be taken care of, man. Which we're praying that we're part of that number and that we're going to be found worthy to escape such things. But 2/3 of our people that refuse to take the calling, that refuse to listen to the prophets and return to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, humble themselves and repent and get themselves right in these last days, man. Hey, when the Lord brings this famine and this sore destruction upon this land, man, hey, it's going to stick to you. It's going to come for you. All right? And you're not going to be delivered out of it. You see? So this is why, the times that we're coming in are not very good times. So we shouldn't be worried about, can we have fun in this truth? Should we be out here making mirth and partying and bullshitting and not taking the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua seriously, man? No, we need to be doing all that we can to make sure that we make our calling and election sure, and that we be found, worthy to escape such things, because it's going to get that bad out here. It's going to get very bad, man. Read up on stories of how bad the famine was during like World War II, and how people had to resort to cannibalism and eating their own damn children because of the lack of bread, man. It's going to get very bad out here, and we're living in very serious times, and these devils are not playing, man. They're literally, engineering global famine. And it's going to hit. Maybe it's going to hit this year, because this year crops, man, didn't do so well, and you're going to find out when just you see how bad things are going to get, how expensive shit is going to get, and how scarce it's going to be in this times to come. And if you ain't got the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua with you, man, hey, you're not going to fare so well, man. You're going to bow down to the slaughter. All right. And hey, Lord knows just how far you're going to, how low you'll resort to get what you need, man. So, Lord willing, brothers and a few sisters was edified. Call hello, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, put in the spirit of me to do this lesson. Lord willing, you were edified. Until the next one, shalom.